So today I will my objective will be to convert like transform the previously made to do app into something like this where I can add to do let's say it's hello world, and I can also delete to do like for example I have added the functionality of if I long press this will get deleted. So along the way I will also explain what like how to do it and what the provider packages. So let's get started. uh, so yeah, so we have the our like the code we made in the previous session. Like it has like it is like there's a stateless widget which has like 21 elements in a to do, and it is like displaying it in a list like a list view with list styles along with like screen of course. So yeah, so let me first tell you what the widget tree looks like, because we will delve into this a lot during this session. So you can see that there is my app. By the way, is the font size okay? Like, just asking. Okay, yeah. So I guess it should be all right now. So you can see that in this is called a widget tree. So essentially it says how the widget has been drawn. So you can see that from the root the app has been made. After that it's a material app, then it's the home page which you can see, and inside it is the scaffold with the list view, which you can see here, and with the app bar, like the top bar. So we will look on this part a lot. So let's start. So let me change it to what we need. So you can see that here the task and the description is added. So let's first do that. So that will be a very small change. So is the title, and we just add a subtitle which will be text with idx dot description. So you can see that all the descriptions are here, and also as far as I remember I have removed the functionality because I'm long pressing it. So let me also just remove on tap. I will code something called on long tap here. So this function will execute when I long tap this style. So I will add that, but for now let's just remove it. So uh, yeah, we have this part. Now let me give you an idea about what we are about to do. So we will use something called provider package. So from there are two things which you need to understand about it. One is provider and one is consumer. By name you can say that provider provides a thing, we can define what the thing is, and consumer uses the provider to consume the thing that is given by the provider. So it will be easier when I code it. So let's get started. So just follow along right now. So because I will do a lot of things. So first I will add the provider package. So it is done by Flutter. You Flutter add provider. So a lot of things. Uh, okay, by let me also show you what the provider package is. So you Flutter provider. You can see that this is in the pub dev. Okay, there's a network problem. Am I audible? Yeah, I think there's a network problem here. Uh, so rather than making the Flutter do it, let me just add it by myself. So I'm going to pubisec.yml, and I'm adding this provider with dependencies. So, yeah. Just doing flutter get. So I guess it is done. Yeah, so let's continue. So I'm adding a widget on top of scaffold. I will tell you why I am doing it after like some part happens. So we'll wait. Is the public not working? Good evening, Gaurav. Nice to meet you. Okay, so while it is running, let me just also give you more theory. So using provider package, we can like uh, like make the data on which the UI is making and the UI itself separate. So we can see here that the data and the UI is together. Using provider package, we can separate it. So let me just do that right now. So I am making a class which is purely for storing data. So I will store these parts inside the class. Inside the class, I'm going to make. Let's make a class. Let's make it app data uh, with something from the provider package which is called change notif and change. Uh, why is the internet working? Let me fix it in the meanwhile. Uh, am I audible? I like change my. Cool. I don't know. There was some internet problem. I changed my Wi-Fi. So continuing on, I like in the meantime, following things happen. I ran Flutter get. Like you can see here that it ran, and like I just added the change notifier here. So what this will do is that by this mixin pro gives us the ability to notify any quote unquote listeners which is using this class. I will tell what this listener means, but in the meanwhile, just follow with me. Here, I will add all the data which is here. So let me just copy this part because this is the main part I want to show. So like let's define final rows is equal to list name. So I just defined a list with two, and also it is asking me to set constant. So let's give it. So I just defined the data final to do's, and now I will add a getter. So list to do get to do's, which is to do. Why I am doing this way and not making this public is to I don't want unnecessary changing of this data. Like because if I give direct access to this, outside classes can edit this list, which I don't want. So for editing, I am providing two functions. One is like add and delete. So you just define void add to do. So like it will be I require a to do. So this just means that for calling this function, you need to give a to do. So here I will just do to do dot add and to do. And along with that, I will call a function called notify listeners. What this will do is that after executing this function, it will notify all the quote unquote listeners which are using us. So this will make sense after I add the provider also. Similarly, I will do void remove to do here like because I am using indexes here. I'm just at like because I am where is the index? Because I'm using index here with the builder, so I am passing an index here. So required int idx for now, and I will just do tools dot remove at, and it will be index. So it is basically list addition and deletion, nothing more. And with that, I will do notify listeners. Now we have data where everything will happen. Now we need to connect it to the functions which are. So for that, let me just first remove this because it is not needed right now. So this is the part. I'm just removing everything here because the data is inside here. Now I will like add something called prov change notifier provider. So change notifier provider. So as I said, this is a provider which takes a change notifier, and it can provide the data which we will create in this create function to consumers which which wants the data. So here I am making create, like you can see that this takes context, and it makes the app state. So app data. So wait, before that let me also make a consumer. So here I am adding something called consumer. So it will be consumer, that will be app data, and it will have a function called builder which like takes three value, where one is the context, one is the app data, and one is a child. We will use this app data only here. So app data, and we will just return the things we were building. Now like you can see this app data, uh, let me just this app data had a to-dos. So rather than using the to-dos we define in the home page, we are using the app data in the consumer. So here it will be app data dot to-dos dot length, and similarly. So let me just see if it works or not. So yeah, you can see that the data inside like here is currently being displayed here. So before going on, I would like to explain what all the jargons I said. So with that, I'm like opening the widget inspector. So you can see that the widget tree is like something like this. Is this visible? Is like, or should I increase the text size more? Oh, it is visible enough. So what so you can, whenever you call a consumer of a given data type, like here it is app data, it will search up the consumer of app data. It is searching up the tree to find a provider which we have provided, like change notify provider app data. So if we have a provider, take it will the provider will provide this the data we have made in the create function. So in the provider, we created the app data, and in the consumer, it went up the tree, found the create object, and now we can use it in the consumer. This app data, uh, and we can like draw it. Now, from this, we can say that the data, like this, the data class and the UI class is separated. So, is it clear till now? All right, so let's move to the next part. Like now, from comparing to the app we want to make, we have the UI. Now I will add the deletion part. So if I long press, the to do in the question will be deleted. So in the list style, I am adding a on long press. Here it will be as simple as uh, we have the app data. So we just will do app data dot app data dot the function remove to do. So remove to do, and like I'm just passing the index. So let me just restart the entire tree, entire app. So you can see if I front right click it, it gets removed. So is done. Now let's talk about adding the tool. So in the target app we have like there's an icon button in the app bar, and when we press it, context a dialog context is generated. Here we enter the things, and when we click add, that to do is added. So first of all, let's add the icon button. So it will be in the scaffold. So inside the actions, icon button. Let's for now keep the on pressed empty, and it will be icon dot add. I will make this constant. So we have a button. Let's do the on press. So it will be very similar to before. It will be show dialog and context, and builder will be for now. Let's do alert dialog. So context and alert dialog. And so when we do, you can see that alert dialog. That's all. So let's like make the alert dialog which is required. So where is it? Yeah, yeah. So let's make this UI. So just make a stateless. For now it will be stateless, but I will convert it to stateful. Let's make it. Let's name it app add to do uh, alert for now. And inside it, because we are making the alert dialog only, an alert dialog, and here we will do add to do alert. So let's sanitary check. Yeah, same thing is happening. Now here the I'm keeping the title as text add to just the UI stuff. So now in the content I'm adding a column with children as two text field. So text font field and text font field. So you can see there are two text font field, but the problem is like the column is taking too much space. So for that I'm adding a main axis size and making it minimum. So main axis size dot minimum. So yeah, so like we can see that the column size is now minimum, and along with that let's add an action button. So it will be an elevated elevated button. Will for now do nothing on press, and style will be a text with something like add, and I guess it is also in the middle. Let me check. Yeah, like okay. So like let's keep it middle. So action alignment main axis alignment dot center. So yeah, it's in the center. Add. Okay, so till now, is there any confusion? Okay, so continuing on. Now we we have to provide a consumer for adding stuff. So you can see in the text tree. Let me refresh it. Now let me refresh it. You can see that the add to do alert is above the provider. Like it is related, like it is a child of material app, not the scaffold and everything we have been working on. So we need a way to send the consumer to this stateless class. So we can do it by parameter passing. So here, like we are making a alert, so we can pass it here. So let me just add this. So uh, the final uh, app data, app data, and we'll just do required this dot app data, and here also I will add data, but before that I have to add consumer. So again in the tree you can see that in the scaffold in the app bar there's an icon button from where I can add the consumer, which will look up the tree and find the provider of app data. Like so, I will add it on icon button. So I'm just wrapping it with a widget. It will be consumer of type app data with the builder same as before. This value will be app data, and now we can pass the app data to okay, we have to remove the constant. So now this consume from this consumer we have the access to app data, which is like provided by the change notifier provider, and we are just passing that app data to the to do alert, which can be used to add the data. Okay, so now let's add the controllers for taking the data. So for that I have to make it stateful. So there will be two text editing controller. So text editing controller, that will be task controller, the VR. Also, it will be, I'm taking it late final because I will initiate them in init state and dispose. Same thing with description controller, which is for the second part, uh, this, this controller. And let me define the init state where I'm doing task controller is equal to text editing controller, and same thing with this controller. And similarly, dispose will be like task controller dot dispose and this controller dot dispose. So this essentially means that whenever this state is called, the init state will occur where these two controllers are initiated, and whenever this gets closed, both of the controller will get disposed. So let's add the controller here. So controller, it will be task controller, and here the controller will be this controller. And also let's add the label, so it will decoration where its type is input decoration here, decoration with the label as enter task. Okay. Do I need text? Yeah, I need text. So let's see if this all is working or not. Yeah, so you can see that there's an enter task. Let's add the same with the description part also. Enter description. Yeah, so we have both the part, and now let's add the the add button. Let's add the functionality of add button. So like there should be a small check, like at least the task should not be empty. So for that, I'm adding a if task controller dot text dot is not empty. I will do the following things. So I will add take the string from the task controller and description controller and add it to the to do app state. So I will add app state will be called as widget dot app data dot add to do, and in here I will make a to do with task string as controller dot text and description as this controller dot text. Now I am like one thing I wanted to clarify that I am not adding any check for this controller because like in the real life description can also be empty, but the task should not be empty. So for that I have added this, and also after add to do I want to remove this dialog. So for that I will do navigator.pop. So let's test if everything works or not. Yeah, so we have a to do. Let's add a to do. Hello world, and you can see that we have successfully added a to do. And for deleting, same things is still valid. So let's make more. Uh, yeah, so we can make to do and we can also delete the to do. So yeah. Uh, so is there any doubt? Like anything which you might need clarification on? All right then. So let's call it a day. Thank you and bye bye.